The State of Marketing in Estate Agency 2023. Today, I'm joined by Simon Leadbetter, who used to be Head of Marketing for Countrywide, Knight Frank, and Fine & Country. And now you're a self-employed estate agency marketeer. Where are we with marketing in 2023 with the estate agency, particularly not necessarily marketing houses, although you can talk about that, but the marketing to attract more people to our agency to sell their houses? Talk to me.
It's funny, when I came into estate agency in 2016, I thought I'd walked into marketing circa 1998 in terms of where marketing is. It's not as sophisticated as it could be. I don't think we use the science of marketing in the way that we should. You know, there's a great quote, half the money I waste on advertising is wasted, I just don't know which half. That was said in the 1890s and hasn't been true for 50 years, but people still trot it out like it's the truth. We've been able to work out what marketing works for decades. And it's one of the few industries I've worked in where that science isn't applied. And some very simple methods, many of them free and online, that you can use to do this. And it works out, if you do these things, what is the impact? It's not all about the last touch, the bit of social media or the direct mail. It's all the things you've done up front that contribute, that mean those things work harder. And I think as an industry, we like to focus on what works for us. So I do this thing, it works, therefore it's the best thing I can possibly do. And I do a presentation regularly to estate agencies. There's three things you should do. So it's three things. And there's three channels that you should use, and they'll be using one of them. Now that one they're using, often social media, is the second most effective at driving response. So I'll say to them, why don't you do number one and number three, still do your social media, because that will drive the response that you want. And I'll be honest about that, email, social media, and direct mail. Those things are the most responsive channels in marketing. And you get a lot of people who'll do one or the other, or two or three. And I consistently say to people, you've got to do all three, because that's the way you'll maximize your response. Now, from a brand perspective, the order slightly changes a bit, but still those channels are fantastic. So social media moves.
It's all about getting your message in front of the eyeballs of the person.
In the way that they want to take it. Exactly.
So that's social media,
email, social media, and direct mail. In that order, that priority. Email first, social media next, then direct mail. That means you'll capture the maximum chance of converting someone to being a customer.
And are you saying the classic, the sum of the part, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts?
The 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. That's the multiplier effect. Because if you send an email and they see it on social media and they get a letter, that's 3 brand touches. Now, there's a great word, actually talking to Sam Offley at Agents Together about this. It was going to be the name of the company, apart from that I could struggle to say it sometimes. Propinquity. It's what all marketing is about. And I remember seeing on stage years ago and going, that's what marketing is. I wish I knew what that word had meant years ago. What propinquity says, and it's a cognitive bias we have, the more you see something, the more you're familiar to it, and the more you will feel positive towards it. That's the root of brand marketing. So I see your message several times. Because of that, I feel familiar with it. Therefore, for whatever reason, we feel friendly towards it.
Sure. Okay, so that's the medium. I agree with you on that. But surely the message that you get across, because you can still hit them with all three, but if your message is crap.
Exactly. So that's kind of the media route that let's go there. If we step back up, the first thing people need to understand is who their audience is. The number of estate agencies I've worked at, who is your target audience? And I get a description of every man.
So basically house sellers.
It's like, okay, no, they're not. What do you mean by the house seller? What type of house? There are loads of tools out there you can put in your local area, and it will tell you what they're like and how different they are to the rest of the population and what pockets of difference there are. From either political views to consumer behaviour to channel choice. And you can see this is what makes them distinct. And most estate agents are targeting the whole area. So you want to narrow it down to your specific community and find out what they've got in common. So that's the audience. So audience, medium at the bottom. The middle one, is you're absolutely right, is message. And I always say, what problem do you uniquely solve? So by knowing your audience, you know what they're
sell houses. Sell houses. That's what I do. I sell houses.
Distress selling.
Houses. Sell houses. Sell houses. Sell houses. Any old house. Landlords wanted. Oh, it doesn't matter what you are, landlords wanted. Is that
And
where
again,
we're going wrong?
it's where we're going wrong. We're seeing a whole market as though it's a homogenous whole. Everyone's the same.
It's almost like a fly's eye that there's geographical and demographic.
And attitudinal and behavioural. No, there's distressed sellers. There's there's death. There's debt. There's divorce. There's all the reasons that drive people to sell. There's just a desire to move. There's trigger events like life events. Having babies or someone sadly dying. Whatever the reasons are. And again, we don't really segment. Whereas every other industry that uses property data as a key source of information, financial services, retail, and automotive, soft furnishings, all use property data to drive their marketing, and they segment like mad. They target their audience. Now, it doesn't mean, I've had businesses, so I've worked in businesses where I've had 145 segments. I'm not saying you need 145 segments, but at least slight wealth brackets, slight life stage brackets.
I mean, it's
just divide up a little bit to make it relevant to people.
It's fascinating that the best marketing leaflet I've ever seen by an estate agent was A4 folded into A5, and on the inside had an article about the local property market, not a how we sell this, but just basically just great, insightful Sunday Times style article. And then on the other side, they were just going for upper quartile houses, so all they did is just put sold.
Yeah.
But then they had the one for 3-bedroom semis, so the inside was the same, but the outside was just 3-bedroom semis.
It's a plate change. It's a simple plate change, and put the high-end ones through the high houses, and the mainstream ones through the mainstream houses. And what people are looking for is relevance.
Well, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Exactly.
And he sells houses like mine.
We're herd animals. We hunt in packs. It's great behavioural economics theory. We were herd animals. We like to buy from people like us, or people who deal with people like us. It's why the high-end brands do well. It's why the local independents do well, because they are the dominant player, the alpha male, the alpha creature. And people will send out the same thing to everybody. And it's really easy with property data just to segment it slightly. Is it an average price property? Is it a low price property? Or is it a high price property? And just reference that in your communication and show things like that in any imagery that you use. It's not rocket science, but again, going into 2016 estate agents, I thought, wow, I can just use the playbook from 1990 from financial services and it will blow their minds how we would segment an audience. And we just don't seem to be moving enough down that route.
Interesting times ahead. I think the estate agents that embrace market segmentation, audience, create great messages, and then deliver them in the right medium will be the ultimate winners.
Absolutely winners.
Thank you for your time today, Simon.
Thank you.